Well, it is early September or mid-September, and bow season has opened here in Wisconsin. But I have yet to be out because it's warm, and I don't have a walk-in cooler. You know, early season is a great time to harvest the buck that you have on a summer pattern or early fall pattern, but I'm just waiting until it cools off. So with that being said, I'm hauling some wood today, and I thought, you know, I don't have a hunting video for you, but I'd talk a little bit about my 2023 Can-Am that I've had now for a little less than a year. But anyway, I've got a little over 300 miles on it, so I've got an appreciation of what it is and what it isn't. Now, this model is the HD9. So a step up from that is the HD10, which has a little more horsepower. But this is the HD9. I didn't really feel that I needed that extra horsepower for work and such, just because, you know, I have a tractor. So I'm not looking to replace the tractor with this. It's just another tool. And so this is the XT. And with the XT, you get a few things. You get, you know, a nice bumper, and you also get a winch. Now, it is not the synthetic. It is the steel cable on the winch here. And it also comes with a roof. And so there's a few other features that I'll talk about that come with the XT. But you can get these, you know, the Can-Am Defenders in the 7, 9, and the 10. And you can get it in the XT, and there's a couple other different models. And if you go to, you know, Can-Am's website and stuff, you can see all that. But I just wanted to give you my personal view. And I did get it in the camouflage, and I got it towards the early fall last year, so I got a couple $1,000s off on the price, so that kind of steered me in that direction. And I haven't really checked in the 2024s, or, you know, now they're probably coming out with the 2025s to see if there's any real changes on it. But so far I've been happy with it. But I'm going to show you a couple other options that the XT actually comes with, and then, you know, does it make sense to, you know, spend the extra money to get the XT. Again, it's really all up to you. But for me, you know, and you know, my wife said, yep, get the XT. So I didn't argue with her. And so again, I've been happy with it so far. There's a couple things that, you know, I think could be a little bit better, but for the most part, I've been happy with it. But let's look at a couple other features that this has. You can see I do have it loaded up with wood. And it does have a dump box, and so there's handles on this side and the other side. And when I was looking at UTVs, you know, I tried the Polaris, I tried the Kawasaki, I did not try a Honda, but so, you know, I did try a few, and I did do a lot of research. And you know, there's things I liked about, you know, the Polaris, there's things I liked about the Kawasaki, but again, you know, I ended up choosing the Can-Am. Oh, and I looked at the Honda too, but I only drove a used one, so I can't say too much about those. But anyway, with the XT, you do get a little bit fancier rims, which I really don't need, but anyway, you do get that. But let's go on the inside, and I'll show you a few things that you get. All right, with the XT, you do have a little storage container here, and it actually does have a plug-in. It doesn't come with the wire, but a plug-in for USB for charging your phones and such. And so that's kind of nice. The other thing the XT comes with that the non-XT models don't is there is a brake here, okay? And I should say brake lock. So if I push the brake down, I can lock the brake, and that can be handy if you are, you know, stopping on you know, non-flat ground and such. And then the other thing is right down here, this seat is actually adjustable. And, you know, that might not be important to you, but if you have multiple users that are trying it out and stuff, that might be beneficial to them. We'll go to the other side, and I'll show you a few things that it also comes with that we can see better from that side. All right, now we're on the other side of the Can-Am, and what we have here is basically a glove box that you can open and store things. You know, it's not, you know, sealed poorly, but I wouldn't call it watertight. And you know, the selling point supposedly on this is that it can pop out. You can use it as a toolbox. It's got a little ruler here and such, but you know, it's been fine. I'm not overly excited over it. And then, so that comes with the XT. I think that actually does come with the non-XT, but the one other thing with the XT is we get this box down here, and this again isn't completely sealed up, but you know, actually there is a sealant around it, so you know, if you get water in this, I don't know what you're doing. You're probably submerging it. And this also does pop out as well. I've never taken it out, but let's see if I can get it back in now. But you know, with the Polaris and stuff, I think they've got a cutout for a 5-gallon bucket. You know, the benefit of this is I can seal it up. And so, you know, if I did have some valuables in here and stuff, you know, maybe I put it in one of these two and I take it out with me. You know, and there's pretty decent storage in here. We've got some storage down here. And then we also have an armrest that flips up and down. Now, when I first started using this, the one thing that kept happening to me is I would put it up and I'd be driving along and it would flip down. And so what I've learned is with this, you actually have, there's a little bit of a lever here that you have to put up, and when you do that, then it doesn't flop back down. But you know, I hadn't figured that out, and maybe it was in the owner's manual, but if so, I didn't catch it. And then I did have a few accessories added onto this, so we'll talk about those here. So this windshield is an actual Can-Am accessory, and this is glass, and I chose glass just because, you know, with poly you do run a higher risk of it getting scratched. Now, the benefit of poly is it's probably not going to crack or break, but anyway, I went with glass. And you know, with this being adjustable, I can open it all the way out, which really helps for getting some nice cool air in. I can close it partially, or I can close it fully. And then the other thing I got is a back window, and this is from Super ATV. It is poly. You know, I'm not so concerned with that getting scratched up. And it actually is a sliding window, so you can get some decent airflow through here. And it's fine. You know, it vibrates a little bit sometimes, but it hasn't bothered me too much. I also did get turn signal light indicators on here, and I did get a rear view mirror. Some things I would like to have is, it would be nice to have some side mirrors, just to get a better picture of what's behind you or around you. So that would be nice. And you know, I just have the mesh doors currently, and so you know, some type of door, even if it was a half door, you know, would be kind of nice. These are fine, but you know, in the winter time and stuff, it isn't ideal and such. So you know, having something, you know, either the canvas doors or a half door, I would prefer over what I currently have. Let me turn it on here just for a second. You can hear it. So I got a little over 300 miles, 321 miles on it, and so the first service actually isn't until 500 miles. So that'll be upcoming. You know, and again, some other accessories it has. There is a cigarette lighter or a 12-volt plug-in in here. The steering wheel does tilt, and I do have a winch control built in. Other than that, you know, It's a UTV. It's my first UTV. I've had a lot of ATVs, but I've liked it. Now, the one thing I would say is, you know, it did take some time to break in the belt, which is going to be the case with all these unless you buy a Honda that doesn't have the belt, and maybe even the new Polaris, the Super Duty, heavy duty one. I don't know if it's the 1500 or whatever. That's got, I think, a steel belt drive. But for the most part, most of them are going to have, you know, a belt that you need to break in, and that's fine. And, you know, it's quiet for the most part, but the thing of it I will notice is, you know, it can be a little bit choppy or jerky when you know, are just starting off, even with 300 and some miles on it. I'm sure there's clutch kits that could reduce that, but if you put it in reverse, you know, and give it a little gas, it doesn't kick in right away, and then all of a sudden you might end up moving. So you do have to, you know, spend a little time with it to learn its quirks with that. It does have some different drive modes. It does have a work mode, an eco mode, and an eco off mode, which would be more of your sport mode. And the other thing with this is I do have a rear diff lock that I can lock and unlock, so I can have one-wheel drive in the back, and it does have, you know, the four-wheel drive. And if I recall, I think this is the Visco lock, which some people really don't care for, but I haven't had any issues with it yet. So overall, pleased with it. Like I said, I wouldn't mind a few more accessories, but I will say this, you can spend as much or maybe even more on accessories than you do spend on a UTV these days. So, you know, one other thing with the XT is it does come with a little nicer seats. And I might have missed something, but again, you know, this wasn't designed to, you know, tell you all the specs of a Can-Am. It just, you know, whether or not I've been happy with it so far. And I would say yes, I have. I've been pleased with it. Haven't had any issues with it. You know, maybe down the road, when I get a few more years on it, we'll talk about it again. But you know, it's hauling wood for me now. Maybe it'll be hauling a deer or two for me this year. And you know, hauls feed and lime, and you know, when I say feed, I should say seed, seed and lime, that type of stuff. So when I'm working on food plots, but you know, it also hauls a little wood, and then I'll burn that this winter, and then I'll use that wood ash to put on my food plots to help improve the soils.